Hey guys, Ludicrous here with the full completion guide for Acceptance. This released on the 11th of August 2023. It was developed by Rasul and published by Ratalaika Games. It can be found in both the PlayStation and Xbox stores for $5.99. During launch week, it also has a 20% discount. Acceptance is a psychological thriller based on the consequences of suicide. It's primarily a 2D walking simulator with a little bit of combat and a long quick time event near the end. There's a total of 11 achievements to earn, 5 of which are missable. If you do miss one of these, you will need to replay the start of the game again. The full 1000 gamer score or platinum trophy will take you around 30 minutes and you'll only need to complete chapter 1. I'll timestamp and narrate over the segments where you'll potentially miss an achievement, and now the video is going to play out with no edits so you can follow along in real time side by side. The controls are really straightforward, just move around with the left analog stick to move your character left or right to transition across the screen, and then press A to interact with things. This game does have quite a lot of dialogue. I will be just mashing A to skip through it, but if you don't want to take your time and read that, just pause the video and catch up once you're ready. This opening sequence is a couple of minutes long, so just press A to transition through the scene. Once we finally get to work, we'll have control of our character. Just hold right on the left analog stick until we get to the very end of the screen. Now that we're in the building, just hold the left on the left analog stick, move all the way along to room 301, and then just press A to enter the door. And then we have another quite a lengthy cutscene. Just press A to transition through all the sequences. We're now reaching our first spell of missable achievements. So once the time gets to 11:46, our character is going to want to break. It's going to flip over to the computer screen, and then we're going to move the mouse cursor to the top left and press A on work. That'll pop the Workaholic achievement. We're then going to press on chat, which is the next one down, and then select any of the names on the right hand side. That'll unlock another missable achievement called Sociability. And then finally click News, tab across to the next page by pressing the right arrow, and then finally click Follow this link at the very bottom. He'll say he's not interested, and we'll also get the third missable achievement called Social Help. Once that's popped, we're then going to press the right arrow another 2 times to get to the final article, which is a shocking discovery that our partner Emily Brown has sadly committed suicide. Our character is now going to black out. Once he wakes up and we have control over our character, we're going to grab another missable achievement, which is to walk over to the clock on the left hand side. So once we're awake, just skip through the dialogue and we'll eventually get the achievement pop from nightmare to nightmare. The game will then save, and once we have control of our character, we're going to move over to the left hand side and just press A on the clock. That's then going to pop the achievement for weird time, and we're then happy to move on to the right hand side. So just keep heading right till we eventually meet the janitor. Just press A to skip through the dialogue, and then eventually the janitor is going to throw you his keys. These are going to land on the floor in front of you. Just press A to pick those up, and then we're going to backtrack into our office where we've just come from. So pick up the keys and then head left. So now that we're back in our office, just transition left another screen. There'll be a locked door which we can now open with the janitor's key. So just press A on that once and then A again to enter it. We're now going to be walking a fair period to the right. Just hold right on the left analog stick. There's going to be various posters and things to interact with pop up here. You can do at your own leisure, but I'm just going to walk past them. They're not required for any of the achievements. Eventually, we'll get the achievement pop for walking simulator from just walking to the edge of the screen, and I'll pick it up when we get to something of interest. So as we transition into this room, just press A to skip through the dialogue with the janitor, and then we're going to be walking for about 5 or 6 minutes to the right hand side. We're going to see some ghostly apparitions of Emily, but just keep on walking to the right until we get to something of interest. At the very end of this corridor, there will be a lift to interact with. Just press A to go down the lift. And then instead of going right, we're going to be going left this time. So just continually go left until we get to the bolt cutters. This is going to be our first weapon and where we can pick up another missable achievement. Once you reach the very last room, just press A to interact with the bolt cutters. We'll then be able to use this as a weapon to attack and block. So just head to the right hand side and we'll get a quick tutorial. You'll need to attack 3 times by pressing A and then block 3 times by just simply holding B. There is an achievement to block an enemy's attack, and there's also one for killing an enemy. I'm putting the block down as a missable achievement because going forward we won't be blocking it at all, we'll just be simply killing everybody. So first of all, as we start walking into this darkness, it'll light up with blood pouring from the ceiling and we'll meet our first enemy. After a quick little bit of dialogue, all we're going to do is hold B when he comes to attack us. That's going to block the attack, and then we're just going to spam A to kill him. That's going to pop 2 achievements, 1 for making a block and 2 for killing him. And then in this room, what you can do going forward is just simply walk forward. You could, if you wanted to, take your time and kill each one of these, but you can just simply walk forward. They'll hit you once, and then eventually we'll get to the lift at the very end. So in this video, you're just going to see me walk forward. I'm going to take a hit from each of the 4 enemies, and then get to the lift and just simply press A. So at this point, you can kill them if you want to. Get a little bit of practice in, just keep pressing A to kill them. You don't need to block at all. You do attack a lot quicker than they do. But for the purpose of my guide or video here, I'm just going to walk through them. And then once you get to the lift, just press A to go up, and then we'll transition into the next area. So as we go up the lift, there will be a little bit of dialogue to skip through, and then finally we come out on the next floor up with more of these creatures. There is a new variant introduced which you can't run past. You will be blocked by him, so on this floor we are going to kill everything. So as we start walking right, every time we bump into somebody, just keep spamming A until they're dead. There shouldn't be any need to block. These are the enemies that you can't run past, so you will need to dispatch of those. You can't get past them at all. And then we get the first variants appear every so often, the ones that actually run at you. So those first guys are stationary. You can walk alongside them and get a few hits in before they actually hit you. And then we'll start meeting the first variant that we saw before that are approach us. As they get near, just start pressing A and they'll constantly get into range to get hit for a second time, third and fourth, and then finally die. And then all we're going to do is rinse and repeat that technique until we get to the right of the screen and move on to the next floor. So as we move into the next screen, there is a mirrored floor. You can press A to get a little bit of story dialogue, but for the purpose of this video and time, I'm just going to transition to the right hand side. And then it's just rinse and repeat again. So we're going to be having waves of enemies come at us. Same as before, but there is another variant in here. There's one that's a little bit faster, a little bit more skittish. All you need to do again is just press A, keep spamming A until he dies. But he will run at you quite quickly, so just spam the A button, you should be fine and you shouldn't get hit. Keep heading right and then eventually you'll move on to the next screen. As we move on to the next screen, there'll be an evil version of us appear, Adam. Just press A to go through the dialogue and then move on to the next screen. This next screen is going to be another wave of several enemies. Just move to the right hand side and keep spamming A to kill them all. So we're then going to bump into Evil Adam again. After a little bit of dialogue, he's going to tell us to run. And then we've got 3 minutes. Yes, 3 minutes of quick time events. So I'll quickly walk you through those as we reach them. So we're now going to run. You don't need to move your character with the analog stick. All you need to do is press the buttons that appear on screen. So as enemies run into you, you're going to have to either attack or block by pressing A or B. So as they approach you, keep an eye on the top of the screen. You'll have 1 or 2 seconds to press either A or B when it appears on screen. I wouldn't even bother looking at the enemies, just pay attention to the very center of the top of the screen. And then once you've done 5 individual button presses, you will have a long sequence where Adam's chasing you, and you'll just need to quickly mash the buttons in before he catches you. And then it'll go back to killing 5 enemies again with the single button presses. So as they appear at the top of the screen, just press them as quick as you can. And then after you've done 5 single button presses, Adam will appear again and you quickly mash out the 6 or 7 that you need. If you do it in the correct order, it'll then go back to the 5 single button presses. Rinse and repeat this until the full sequence is complete. If you do miss one, don't worry too much, it only take 1 HP off you and you do have 10 health. Once you've dodged Adam for the final time, you will outrun him and get the escape from reality screen pop up, and you'll also receive the achievement saying who still likes QuickTime events. Certainly not me and probably not you. And then we'll move on to another fighting or combat section. So we'll then move back to having the bolt cutters in our hand. I'm going to transition to the right of the screen, just killing everything that appears. Eventually, we'll then meet the boss, which is the final segment, and this is the only area that I got hit. But again, he's really easy to do, and I'll talk you through that once we get to him. You'll be pleased to hear we've only got 1 combat section left to go. This room does have a mirrored floor. You can press A to interact with it, but it's not needed for the story. You can just head straight to the left and press A to go up. Eventually we're going to appear next to that grated door that was covered up by the wire mesh. What we can do now is press A to cut that with the wire cutters or the bolt cutters, and then we can proceed through and fight the final boss. So come off the lift, head left, and then just press A on the door. You're going to use the bolt cutters to open the door and head on through. We've now reached the final combat room. Here we're going to have to defeat an enemy by hitting him roughly 10 times. He does come from the right hand side initially, and he will run through you to transition onto the other side of you. So just keep turning and hitting him whenever he appears. So I started by just randomly smashing A, hoping he would just run into it, but I found timing it was a little better. So here he is. We're going to get our first hit in on him, and then he's going to dart to the left, turn left, wait for him to approach, and then press A as he gets near. You can get maybe 1 or 2 hits in before he then darts off. But all you need to do is face the direction he's gone off to, and then as he approaches you, just tap A a couple of times. He'll then run off again, face whatever direction he ran off to, and then keep hitting him every time he comes. Once you've hit him for about 10 times, he will die off, and then we'll transition to the right hand side and finish off the game. Once you have the final boss killed off, head to the right of the screen. We'll eventually interact with the lift. Go up the lift and there'll be a long cutscene. Just press A to skip through that, and then you'll eventually get the last achievement for finishing chapter 1, and that should give you your platinum trophy or 1000 gamer score. If you found this guide useful, drop it a like, and if you want to see more guides and content from myself, please do subscribe.